Well, what really made you start using Linux? Now, this is a question everybody asks eventually. Like, why would you use Linux? And it's like, why would you continue to use Windows? So it points to something deeper than Windows or Linux, a choice. It goes down to what you really believe. And so we tiptoe around it all the time. All of these people that have switched to Linux because they like the security and the privacy, or they switch to Linux because they feel like they're controlled. I really believe these people, including me, might be a little crazy. Let's flesh this out. How I think and what I believe today isn't necessarily what I always believed. I had an awakening like everybody else. Because when I changed to Linux, it wasn't for security. It wasn't because I believed Big Brother was watching. It's not because I thought that Microsoft was stealing all my data and using me as a product. No. I switched to Linux because I wanted my old, beat-up computer to be fast again. I was pragmatic. I was being practical. But the deeper you go into this culture of being a Linux user, I think the more open you become to other things like privacy and security, Big Brother watching, choices, control. You might be a closet conspiracy theorist. But it's not really a theory, is it? It's actually true. There are real dangers out there. There's real threats. There's real hacks. There's real all kinds of, trouble you can get into sticking with Windows or Mac operating systems. I think the real reason is that it's a big market. Hacking into Windows is a huge market. You've got potential customers all over the place if you're a hacker. And yet Linux users get labeled as hackers when Linux people really aren't the hackers. They're the freedom fighters. I guess the ones who would rather go it alone than be part of that massive crowd walking toward doom. And that just might be the case. I'm not sure. However, so maybe I'll come up with a list. Okay. If you think you're being monitored by our society, you may be a Linux user. And by this I'm saying that we all know we're being monitored. Like we're being watched. For sure. You walk into a store, they say you're on camera. What are they doing with these videos that they make, the images that they record? What do they do with them? I don't know. I mean, we all can hypothesize, but really, we don't know. I mean, now with the abundance of Ring cameras and IP cameras, things are stored online in clouds. Although they have you believe that it's in the ether of the sky. It's not. They're on servers. They're on big, huge servers that are acres and acres large and stories high. There's a big movement going on now through the central United States of little towns fighting against the corporations that are putting up all of these data centers. These data centers are storing information. What information? Is it your information? Who knows? Is it what they collect online? Maybe. So, if you joined Linux because you were afraid of security, and you're still online, guess what? You're still being stored. I don't think we can avoid it, but I do think we can fight it. And we fight it by, being internet savvy, not giving away our data. And by data, I mean your credit card numbers, your banking, your, address, all this kind of crazy stuff. Just don't do it. Just refuse. And you just choose differently. That's all. Anyway, so that was one question. If you believe that most of the interaction on the internet is by bots, you might operate a Linux machine, because it's the internet is dead theory. And if you haven't never heard of the internet is dead theory, this is pretty new to me as well. I've heard about it, but I never really looked into it. Apparently, it's saying that most of the internet traffic, most of the social media traffic, or anything that's online, is in fact a bot, not a real person, a computer-generated entity that is only there to stir conversation, simulate human activity, and steer or nudge the public into certain directions culturally. That makes sense to you? Trends, what's popular, what's not popular, whether you get watched or not watched. I mean, a lot of companies, they call it the algorithm, but it's not really the algorithm, or it could be the algorithm. And it might be simply that the algorithm is what controls the bots. And so they send the bots out to achieve certain goals or objectives that are predetermined, and not really the actual outcome that is controlled by human beings. Anyway, if you think that, you might operate a Linux machine, because you tried to escape that, right? Interesting subject. If you haven't figured it out yet, I'm a bit of a conspiracy nut. I sure get entertained by conspiracy theories, and not just a few of them, most all of them. And just because I'm interested in conspiracies and conspiracy theories doesn't necessarily mean I believe any of them. Well, some of them might make sense, yeah. Some of them are logically hard to argue against, and some of them are just plain nonsense. But I really, truly believe that your reality is sculpted by what you believe. And so then believing something might actually create it. Anyway, it's not really much about Linux, but I'm starting to draw some direct or indirect correlationships between being a conspiracy theorist and operating a Linux computer. If you believe that many things are a scam, like insurance is a scam, it is, and the fact that it has been regulated by law to have insurance is the biggest, boy, this is crazy. I mean, if I wanted to start a business, the best way that I could ever think of to succeed in that business would be to have governments make it law that everybody participate in my business, right? And that's what insurance companies have done. They have guaranteed themselves endless clients because it's governed, mandated, required, right? You can't drive a car without insurance. You can't own a home without insurance. You can't get dental care without insurance. You can't get anything without insurance. Even medical you can't get without insurance. Good luck trying to pay for something flat out, right? I mean, I'm sure people do it. And these people are the ones that aren't motivated by fear. So they just didn't buy the insurance because they thought, when it happens, I'll deal with it. I'll pay for it, right? Because typically that's what it is, right? Insurance company is gambling. And so I really took off in this insurance thing. But you see, antivirus software and all that kind of stuff is the same thing. It's insurance. They're selling you insurance, and you're paying whatever it is. I don't even know what it costs because I haven't even entertained the thought. And one time I used to get advertisements pop across my screen when I was watching something because they knew in those days when I was running Windows that I didn't have any antivirus software. And they tried to make you, they tried to scare you into it, saying, you are a target for bad, or whatever, right? It's fear. And if fear drives you, logic escapes you. So think about things like that. All right. So if you believe insurance is a scam, you might be a Linux user. That might have been it. That might have been all I had to say. Because truly, I had nothing to say today. Except that maybe there's a direct correlation between conspiracy theorists and Linux users. So if Big Brother is watching, then we're giving him lots of stuff to look at, aren't we? And I guess that's why they need those big data centers that span 35 acres to store all of our data